This video is sponsored by Simple, a nutrition app that helps you keep track of your health and diet. I don't know if this strange thing happened to you during the pandemic, but all my clothes shrank. Who am I kidding? Like a lot of people, I sat around, ate junk food, and binged a lot of videos. So of course I gained a bit of weight. So now I'm using Simple's weight care app. They make weight loss and healthy dieting simple. More than 10 million Simple users have already tried this app. If you want to try it, please go to the video description, click on the link, and take Simple's short quiz. At the end of the quiz, you'll be granted a 56% discount for the 3-month plan. Did you know that intermittent fasting is a popular, healthy, and effective weight loss method? Hundreds of millions of people around the world trust intermittent fasting. It's an ancient eating pattern, and anyone can benefit from it. Basically, what you do is alternate between eating and fasting periods. For example, you can fast for 16 hours, then you can eat anything you want during the 8 hours. Since you can eat anything you want, it's not a diet. It's a simple lifestyle change that kickstarts your weight loss and better health by enabling your metabolic system to work as it was designed. And Simple makes it simple. I knew nothing about fasting before I started using Simple, and it's been easy. Simple is more than just a fasting tracker. It'll improve your health, help you lose weight, and it'll improve your cognitive power as well. Simple will adjust your customized program and then teach you what intermittent fasting is. And you're not alone in this. You get daily support, customized guidance, expert advice, true motivation, and easy life hacks. Simple tracks your fasting habits and helps you adjust your customized fasting program as needed. Then it'll provide you with personalized insights to get the most out of intermittent fasting. You don't have to believe me that works. You should check out their score on the App Store. If you've seen any of my earlier videos, you know I'm not talented enough to manipulate a video to make up a fake score. This is their actual score on the App Store. And you can use my personal promo code, criminally listed, and receive a 56% discount for the 3-month plan. So what are you waiting for? Go to the video description, click on the link, and take Simple's short quiz. At the end of the quiz, you'll be granted a 56% discount for the 3-month plan. Number 3. Veronica Kaye. In the fall of 1980, 18-year-old Veronica Lynn Kaye lived with her grandmother in Etobicoke, Ontario. At the time, Etobicoke was a municipality in the Toronto metropolitan area. In 1998, it officially became part of Toronto. At about 1:30 p.m. on November 7, 1980, Kaye got on a bus heading to a mall in Mississauga, which is another municipality in the Toronto metro area. First, she planned on stopping to see her friend who worked at a photography store in a strip mall about 2.5 miles from the mall. Kaye made it to the store and talked to her friend. Kaye indicated that she had a ride to the mall. Kaye was acting normally and did not indicate that anything was wrong. Her friend did not see her with anyone and didn't see any cars in the parking lot. 18-year-old Veronica Kaye did not make it home that evening, so she was reported missing. 11 months went by. Then, on October 9th, 1981, 2 men were walking in a wooded area in Caledon. Caledon is a town in the Greater Toronto Area. The 2 men were walking a little more than 30 miles away from where Veronica Kaye was last seen. They came across a set of human remains which were later identified as 18-year-old Veronica Kaye. The police did not say how she was killed other than that she died from injuries suffered during a violent confrontation. Her body had the same clothes that she was wearing on the day she went missing. Amongst her remains was an odd possible clue. It's a unique button that did not come from Kaye's clothing. The button is 2 millimeters wide and has an unusual symbol on it. The police want to identify the source of the button. They think it may be the clue that will crack the case wide open. Currently, there's a $50,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. Number 2. Shelley Morgan. 33-year-old Shelley Morgan was born in the United States, but in November 1984, she was living in Bristol, England. Morgan, who was a mother of two, was taking some art classes at Bristol Polytechnic Art College. On the morning of June 11, 1984, Morgan dropped off her children at school. She then headed to Lee Woods to do some photography and sketching. That afternoon, Morgan did not pick up her children at school, so she was reported missing. 4 months went by, and no trace of Shelley Morgan was found. Then, on October 14, 1984, some children made a gruesome discovery on Backwell Hill, which is about 6.5 miles from Lee Woods. It was the new dead body of 33-year-old Shelley Morgan. She had been stabbed multiple times. The police believe that the murder was sexually motivated. Morgan's clothes, camera, tripod, sketching material, and red-frame glasses were not found near her body. These items have never been found. The police believe that the killer owned a vehicle, or at least had access to one. They also think he probably has connections, possibly through work, to Backwell and maybe Lee Woods or the Clifton areas of Bristol. But, unfortunately, it wasn't long until the case went cold. Then, 35 years later, in June 2018, the police went public with what they believe are important clues in the case. There are 2 postcards. They are tearaway postcards from calendars sold by a Bristol hospice charity in the 1980s or 1990s. One postcard is the Avon River at Bristol. The photo was taken below the Clifton Suspension Bridge, not far from Lee Woods, where Morgan was heading on the day she went missing. The second postcard is of St. Andrew's Church, and the photo was taken from Backwell Hill, where Morgan's body was found. The police did not say where they got the postcards from or how they are connected to the crime. A detective said both locations are significant as they are linked to the areas where Shelley was heading for on the day she disappeared and where her body was found 5 months later. The police also said that they wanted to talk with anyone who may have purchased the calendar or who may have kept the tearaway postcards with these specific images. They said it's possible her work and the locations she was visiting that day hold the key to her killer's identity. They're also looking for Morgan's belongings that she had with her on the day she was murdered. Her camera was an Olympus OM20 with a serial number 1032853. Unfortunately, it's been 3 years since the police came forward with this information, and the case is still cold. Shelley Morgan's family is hoping that one day soon, the case will be solved. Number 1. Janet and Marisa Shuglie. In June 1985, Frank and Janet Shuglie were living in a rundown motel in Somerton, Pennsylvania, with their 10-year-old daughter, Marisa, and their 2 sons, 7-year-old Christopher and 5-year-old Josh. It wasn't uncommon for the family to live in a motel of that nature. The family lived a transient lifestyle and often moved from state to state. In that early summer of 1985, Frank and Janet were having marital problems. A Catholic priest was counseling Janet. There are conflicting reports, but either on June 29th or June 30th, Janet and Frank got into a big fight. She spit in his face, and he slapped her. After that, 35-year-old Janet grabbed her eldest, 10-year-old Marisa, and left the motel room. They went across the road to a car sales lot. Janet asked the owner if he could find them a ride to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The owner used a CB radio to try and find her a ride, but he couldn't find anyone who could drive them. Janet said that she was going to the church. Janet and Marisa walked towards the Interstate Turnpike. The church was about a mile away. That was the last time 35-year-old Janet and 10-year-old Marisa were seen alive. Frank reported them missing a few days later on July 2nd. The police suspected that Frank may have been involved in their disappearance, but they couldn't find any evidence to connect him to the crime. Frank and Janet's two sons, Christopher and Josh, spoke to a social worker. They said that their father left sometime after their mother and sister stormed out of the motel room. He didn't return until late that night. He was disheveled and his clothes were muddy. The next day, Frank did a thorough cleanup of the room. Then they checked out of the motel. Later that day, they traveled to Jeanette, Pennsylvania, which is Frank's hometown. They stayed there for a day or two and then moved into an apartment in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. For the next several weeks, Frank looked for his wife and daughter. He called women's shelters, news outlets, police stations, the FBI, and even the CIA, asking for help to locate his wife and daughter. Near the end of August, Frank thought he knew where Janet and Marisa were. He believed they were hiding out with Janet's aunt and uncle. In late August, Frank was fishing at Pittsburgh Park and he met two men. Frank offered the men an unusual proposition. If the men killed his wife, hurt her aunt and uncle, and kidnapped his daughter, he would pay them $2,000 each and give them round-trip flights to Hawaii. One of the men pretended to be interested and met up with Frank several more times to get more information. The man then went to the police. Then he, along with two undercover police officers, met up with Frank. The undercover officers pretended to be hitmen and they recorded their conversations. In mid-September 1985, Frank was arrested and charged with solicitation to commit murder. Supposedly, while in jail awaiting trial, Frank did a lot of talking. He allegedly told three other inmates he had gotten rid of his wife and daughter. He also apparently asked one inmate if he could get charged with murder if there was no body. Frank went to trial in March 1986. It was a non-jury trial and it lasted 9 days. He was found guilty of 5 counts of criminal solicitation. Before Frank was sentenced, he was sent to a state psychiatric hospital. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. Frank spent some time in the hospital and then he was transferred to a prison. In prison, he got his bachelor's degree, then his master's. Frank was released from prison around 2002. He settled in Pittsburgh after he was released from prison. Frank says that his wife left him for a different man and took their daughter with her. He claims he has nothing to do with her disappearances. The police believe that Frank killed his wife and daughter. He then tried to hire hitmen in a ruse to make it look like he thought that they were still alive. But the police could never find any evidence to connect Frank to the murders of his wife and daughter. Then in July 2019, 34 years after Janet and Marisa went missing, the police made an announcement. Janet's high school ring had been found. A family member who lived in Jeanette, Pennsylvania, found it in their garden about 20 years earlier. It's Frank's hometown, and it's where he took their two sons in the days after Janet and Marisa disappeared. Janet also attended high school near Jeanette. In 2019, the family who found the ring decided to use social media to find the owner. Based on the initials carved into the ring, they learned that it belonged to Janet. The police were hoping that the ring might heat up the case, but it did not lead anywhere, and the case is still considered cold. The police said they have not ruled out any suspects, including Frank Shuglie. He remains the prime suspect, but there is a problem with Frank being the suspect. It is not believed he had a vehicle at the time his wife and daughter disappeared. So if he did kill them, how did he transport their bodies to a place he could dispose of them? This is just one of many unanswered questions surrounding the case. Janet and Marisa Shuglie have never been found alive or dead. If they are alive at the time of this video, Janet would be 72 and Marisa would be 47. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Please don't forget to check out our new channel, Paranormally Listed. There's a link on the screen now, and there's a link in the description box below this video. Well, that's all for today. Thanks again for watching.